Hi, this is my final presentation for the practicum for class AEP 879 in spring 2013 through Fort Hays State University. My name is Danny Chamberlain, and here are the table of contents of everything that you're going to see. The major objective I had with the practicum, I had several of them, but my main focus is just getting an experience and a feel for the normal day-to-day operations that go into managing a school, and also, to a lesser extent, a district, containing student needs that are really as diverse as the schools that I teach in. I also wanted to see, does having extracurricular clubs, teams, and special activities within the school reinforce positive behavior as incentives, and does it work for students with a history of behavior issues? There's a picture of me. I'm on the right. This was taken this summer in the Andes Mountains in Chile. The guy on the far left, the man on the far left, is a teacher that I teach with that went with me to Chile. He was kind of my interpreter because I don't speak Spanish and he does. And the man in the middle was a taxi driver that drove us up into the Andes Mountains. We had just met this man a day before, and my friend talked to him, and he arranged to drive us. It was kind of a freak thing. Uh, Introduction to me: I teach elementary physical education, kindergarten up to fourth grade, at Jenny Wilson and Nia Sharman Elementary Schools in Garden City, Kansas. I'm finishing up my sixth year of teaching, and during those 6 years, I've taught in 4 different schools, and I've been exposed to a variety of leadership styles. I have a Bachelor of Science in Education and also in Health and Human Performance. Both of those are from Fort Hays State. It is interesting to me to see different leadership and discipline styles amongst other teachers and amongst principals. And I think it helps me because I can see what works and what doesn't. I've used a lot of different discipline ideas that I've picked up in my 6 years. I also am very lucky to see how a successful school should operate. Within both schools that I teach at are really, really great leaders and great teachers, and as a result of that, they always get quality results, and they're recognized as probably the 2 best elementary schools in the district. At least I think so. In my spare time, I enjoy reading. I coach youth YMCA basketball through Edith Sharman Elementary School, and I also enjoy traveling and just relaxing. There's a picture of Edith Sharman. It's a blue ribbon school. It's been nationally recognized. And there's Jenny Wilson, also a great school. Some of my goals: I just wanted to gain a more in-depth knowledge of issues that a principal would face on a regular basis. Some of those: student interaction, positive and negative, negative being discipline, and how they manage school operations and staff. Also, I wanted to see how decisions made at the district level affect how a principal is able to run the school. Um, I also was interested in some behind-the-scenes meetings and issues that may arise. My professional leadership philosophy is pretty simple. A school's students and staff must be led by a competent, caring, energetic, and positive principal, and you can add some other adjectives in there also. Every child matters to me, whether they are a regular student or they have severe behavioral issues or they have physical disabilities. Every child can learn, and every staff within the school can improve, and that's up to the leader to challenge the students and staff to make that happen. I believe a principal should never forget what it's like to be a teacher and the challenges that they face on a daily basis, that a principal may not have to encounter on a daily basis. And I also, going up the leadership ladder, I believe every district administrator must not forget what it's like to be a principal, because again, a principal faces a lot of difficult issues that a district administrator may not. I also believe that great leadership, starting with the superintendent will filter down into great principals, great teachers, and great students. There's the activity log of some of the district level activities I did within the semester, and the time frame, and then the leadership standards that apply there. There are the activities I did outside my specialty area, outside PE and outside elementary. And then my main focus was at the elementary level because that's where I teach. Again, the activity, the time spent. One thing that may jump out at you is the first one, volunteer coaching for YMCA basketball. I put down 30 hours. That was kind of a rough estimate. May have been a little bit more. This was just within the semester, and I'll discuss that in depth a little bit later. Again, some more of the activities I did at the elementary level. And then I focused on some specific experiences and activities that I was able to do. I was able to discuss with one of the principals I work with suspension hearings, how these work. I was kind of curious. When a student is going to be suspended for a long-term suspension above 10 days and possibly an expulsion, there does have to be a hearing. And the principal was gracious enough to write down and explain to me how this process works. She did it in a very in-depth way and made it really easy for me to understand. Within that, I learned that you have to be very diligent in gathering your evidence prior to the hearing. If you're the principal that's requesting the hearing for the suspension or the expulsion, and then I learned how during the meeting how it works, and I've written down some of the things there. And usually the meeting results in a long-term an expulsion, a year-long expulsion. And there's the part of the form that the principal filled out explaining about the suspension hearing. And there's a little more of what she wrote. YMCA basketball, I coach and have been since I started coaching YMCA basketball, youth basketball through Edith Sharman. And the reason I included this is because the teams are organized within our school, and I'm the one that's responsible for organizing the teams and everything that goes with it. Basically, making me the coach and athletic director. There's a lot more organization that goes along with it than people might realize, than I realized when I started it. This year I coached a total of 5 teams in 2 different age divisions. And the time involved is an hour each day after school for practice, and then 3 to 4 hours each Saturday for games that start in October and ended mid-March. It is time consuming, but it is also rewarding. And there's a picture of one of our girls teams. They took 2nd place within the league, and could have and probably should have won the championship, but that's another story. An IEP meeting that I was able to, or one of the IEP meetings that I was able to go to was really interesting because it was for a 4th grade special ed student that had been in a self-contained classroom and has been in a self-contained classroom since kindergarten. She's at the higher end of the special education program, and her father had asked the teacher if it would be possible next year for her to attend a regular 4th grade classroom, which would have to be at another school, and not in a special ed classroom, in a regular classroom. And she would also, in addition to that, she'd have extensive pull-out services and resource assistance from some other teachers that would pull her out of the classroom and work with her one-on-one. Because he requested that, we had this meeting. The student is doing very well academically, like I said, but she struggles socially. And normally, next year, she would move on to the 5th and 6th grade intermediate center in another self-contained classroom. And the father asked again if she could be just moved into a regular classroom. And so many people attended this meeting, and all of us had worked with the student in one way or another. Um, and we gave our reasons why we thought that she should she should move on to the fifth and sixth grade self-contained classroom. And during this meeting, it was really obvious why leadership standard 4 and within that function 3 is very important about building and sustaining positive relationships with parents. This had obviously been done not so much by me. This was only about the second time I had met this family, but the teacher, the special education teacher, and the principal had obviously built a relationship of trust with the family, and they knew that the advice we were giving them was what we thought was best for her. And the father eventually came around to the conclusion that, yeah, I think everybody's right, and she should go to the fifth and sixth grade center next year. And there's the form. I blacked out the names of the parents, the IEP form that we all signed. And then I was able to go to a couple of SAT meetings, student assistance team meetings, and they meet with classroom teachers who are concerned about students, usually academically concerned, sometimes concerned with behavior. And they were interested because I had never been to a SAT team meeting. So, and I learned a lot, and I do hope to be able to serve on a SAT team in the near future. And there's one SAT team member, a teacher, and a para that just happened to be there. And then I was able to work a lot in disciplining students with special needs. Um, I have right next to the gym where I teach is a classroom where hearing impaired students are taught by a sign language interpreter. They're pulled out of the regular classroom and taught, as well as some students in there that have some mental disabilities. And it's it's a lot different disciplining students with these disabilities because resolving an issue can take twice as long, and your vocabulary cannot be above their level. And if they're deaf, you're going to have to wait for the interpreter to sign for you. So it does take twice as long. And I was successful with my discipline about 70% of the time. And these were minor discipline issues that the teachers would bring them to me for. Fitness Day. It's called Kansas Kids Fitness Day. I'm the one that's in charge of this, have been for 6 years. About 500 to 600 third grade students attend this event every year. And I'm basically the only one that helps out with this. Especially prior to the event, you can see all the duties that I have. And then the day of the event, some of the things that I have to do. The volunteers have been very lucky to get high school students. Their coaches allow them to help out. It's not a paid position, but it is rewarding because every year has been really well, and I've gotten a lot of positive comments. And there's some pictures from Fitness Day. Some other pictures. This is a sign club. The lady that's the head of the sign language interpreters has a club. Some of these students are deaf or severely hearing impaired. Some of them can hear just fine, but they're in special education for one reason or another. Another picture. These are the students there are 5th and 6th grade students that I have to supervise while they're waiting for the bus every other morning. And so I get there early before school to supervise them. And then I did feel that this was a very positive experience. I learned a lot of what takes place through the normal school day that a principal deals with, and I was also able to use my leadership skills to organize and coach the basketball teams through our school, and also organizing the Kansas Kids Fitness Day. And I was able to look at situations from a leader's perspective, and I still have a lot to learn, but there's nothing wrong with that. And here's where the bibliography would be when I get it done tomorrow. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you very much.